What's going on, Eurovoxxers? Nice to see you all. Hello, Emma. Hold on, I've been practicing. Hur är läget?
Det är bra. Hur är det själv?
I of course should probably learn a response to that at some
Yeah, next week.
in order to really get the flow of things. Guys, so we just saw the fourth semifinal of Melodifestivalen, which is technically the last semifinal, but of course we do have the Under Hansen, aka second chance round next week. Before we get to some comments, let's do a little bit of branding. I mean, you gotta, that's how we always start our pre-recorded videos. So we got it in there. We might as well start doing it in our live videos. Hello to Sarah O'Halloran. She's asking who the finalists are. We will get to that in a moment. Hello to Vova. Vova, I believe you are in Belarus. Is that right? And hello to Olympic Song Contest. So let's go through the qualifiers. Begin with who we're going to be seeing in the final.
Yes. We are gonna see the Mamas and Erik Saade in the final.
Okay, and then second chance round.
Second chance is Clara Hammerström and Efraim Leo.
Okay, so, you know, pretty tight show, I would say. One of the best. Before we get to some of the details of the show, let's say hello to some more people who have just joined us. Hello to Nicola, nice to see you. Hello to Michael Forbes. Sarah O'Halloran is saying that she loves the Mamas. So, you know, good news will be, we know that they're going to be in the final again, which is, you know, for me is such a relief. Hello to James Lewis. Vova is saying last year's first song at semifinal. Yeah, that's right. So the very first song in the semifinals won Melodifestivalen in 2021, and this year all of the last song. Oh, so you think that the winner is going to be in this semifinal? Interesting, and I want to get to that too. Hello to Francesca, nice to see you. Hello to Stan Jonesia or Jonesia. Hello, Queens. Emma, let's begin with the Mamas, because obviously, you know, winners from last year and, you know, kind of technical winners from the year before as well, being the backup vocalist for Jon Lundvik. Tell me, what did you think about the performance that they brought this year?
I thought it was good. It was a good comeback, absolutely. But still, you automatically compare it to Move. And I think Move had another kind of feeling, more power in it. And this one was good, but I think you're gonna need a couple of more listenings to appreciate the song even more.
Yeah, I know what you mean, and earlier I was saying that I was really concerned for the Mamas because it was a really tight semifinal, and I was not confident that they were going to be directly to the final, but
really?
They are. Well, I mean, I expected that they would at least get the Under Hansen. But again, like, you know, we saw a great performance from Tess Merkel. That was probably the biggest surprise for me. And I mean, like, you know, a legend in her own right for being a part of Alcazar. And we touched upon this a little bit in our last video. But an overall really solid performance, and she got eliminated. So I thought, especially when it came down to just the two of them, I thought that, you know, we might not even be seeing the Mamas at all in the final. But I take what you're saying about the song. Like it doesn't have the same feeling that Move has, and you know, obviously, like you don't try and do the same thing over and over again. But for me, when I saw Move for the first time in semifinal one last year, it had a lasting impact, and I was like, you know, great way to start off the show. And you know, I wasn't necessarily confident that it was going to win, especially because a lot of people were saying, "Do we want to send the Mamas again?" Even though it's not totally the case from the year before. They weren't getting the same recognition that they got that year. But yeah, I had a really strong feeling that they would be a good choice, and then they ended up winning. Anyway, I'm kind of rambling about this, but
I love their outfits. They were so like golden and so fabulous. And it's the thing about the Mamas, they can sing anything and you will still love them because they are just awesome.
Yeah, they're just a joy to watch, and you know they do a great job at, you know, bringing uplifting music with that gospel and pop blend. So they're such lovely artists, and you know it's beautiful to see that they're still being appreciated. You know, even after having to kind of live up to the expectations that were put in the previous years.
Yeah.
Glad to know that I got that right, Vova. Michael Forbes is saying a lot of pressure on the Mamas, definitely more of a grower than Move. And you had touched upon that as well. And then you also said, Michael Forbes, no shocks with who went through to the final. Definitely the best 2 performances of the night.
I agree. Yeah.
I agree too. At the end of the day, again, like for me, it was pretty tight, but I do think that the ones that made it through were the best 2. Nicola is saying, hope the Mamas won't be bulletproof when Little starts shooting. Well, of course, we know that Dr. is a big competitor here. But let's talk about that other direct-to-final qualifier, which is Erik Saade. What did you think about his performance?
But it was weird, but it was good weird, I think. And the song sounded very familiar. This na 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 na. So it feels like I've heard it before, and I think this song is going to split the people into camps, you could say. You love it or you hate it, I think. But it's got a Eurovision vibe, and I think he made a great performance, like all alone, just black and white, and the dancing. So yeah, I thought it was good, but I can understand why people might find it difficult to like.
Yeah, you talked about the familiarity of it, and I'm thinking of a song that's actually a fairly new release by Rudimental called "Regardless," which is like a kind of deep house pop kind of thing going on, which samples another popular house song from the early 2000s called "Rapture" by Io with the vocals of Nadia Ali, and that has a very distinctive hook, the na 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 na. But like it was a really solid package. I will say that vocally not that great, and it kind of reminded me of Anton a few weeks ago, who we were talking about, where there was lots going on. Solid song, solid staging, but like the kind of essence of why people compete, that being singers, right? Not really the best aspect of it. How did you feel about his vocals?
I actually didn't think about that. I don't know, but his voice is special as well. He has this kind of maybe nasal, is that the right word for it? I don't know, but yeah, that's the same. You like it or you don't like it, but maybe it was false some places. Yeah, that passed me by.
Just kind of touching back on the Mamas again. Clara's saying, Stu and Emma, is it too late for love? I want to know.
Well, it's never too late for love.
And it's not too late to get behind the Mamas, because they will be in the final. Of course, we are talking about Erik for the time being, and I'm glad to see that Sarah O'Halloran recognizes Rapture. Great song. I don't know. Do you know that song?
No, but maybe I've heard it because it was so familiar with this na 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 thing. Probably.
It's one that occasionally I'll still hear it in like public venues. Obviously, like I haven't gone to a public venue in a while, but I'd go to restaurants or public events, and you hear the original version, which I really like. Michael Forbes saying, Stu, you're right. Less dancing, more concentrated on the vocal for Erik. It is a singing contest after all. But and like I don't want to take away from it, because it definitely deserves to be in the final. It does make me think about what we've been seeing from Sweden, not counting the last year, which kind of doesn't count because Eurovision didn't happen. But like people, it is one of the main criticisms of Sweden is that they send really polished pop songs, usually sung by a solo male performer, and not necessarily always getting not always with the best vocals, but like a lot of flash. So that to me, it makes me not really 100% behind it, but I do actually quite enjoy the song.
That's why we should send Arvingarna to Eurovision.
Yeah.
Do something completely opposite. I think that's what we need. But yeah, I agree. I really agree. It's too polished. It's a music video, like Benjamin Ingrosso, the same problem there.
And it's interesting because I do think that when it comes to the public, we are seeing a bit of a, not a resistance, but like I'm having trouble finding the word, but that's kind of always the case. But I do think that like that worked a lot better for televote points a while ago, whereas now I think people are getting a little bit sick of it. And you know,
Yeah.
I think of like last year with Boys with Emotions, because that, you know, again, it was really flashy. I had my you know, kind of doubts about the message it was trying to convey. It didn't really feel very genuine to me.
No.
But when it came to the final, lots of jury points, not a lot of televote points. And I wonder if that might be, well, I mean, in this case, like, you know, he's gone to the final, so maybe not exactly like that, but it makes me think about how the public is going to receive it, you know, considering all of the songs that will be in the final.
Yeah, well, he will definitely get the most points from the international jury. I'm sure about that. And then I will talk about that later, but Tusse will probably have the most of the viewers' votes.
Let's say hello to Raul B, who's joining us. There we go. Hey from Paris. Nice to see you. So let's go to the second chance round. So we've got, who was the first one to be announced? Was it Ephraim Leo?
I think so. And he's so new to me, actually, Ephraim Leo. Yeah. And the song that I have already forgot it, actually.
I mean, I have to be honest, I kind of did as well. And, you know, in this case, like visually a pretty good performance, maybe just a little bit kind of, you know, typical Melfest, the kind of thing that we see every year. In fact, do you know who it reminded me most of? Because I think you saw MGP this year in Norway, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember Atle Pettersen?
Oh, which one was that?
He performed very first of the night. He was wearing red, and then he had kind of a trick with the microphone where he was moving around it.
Yeah, but the difference, this Norwegian guy, he had more like charisma and like more focus on stage. This guy was a little bit, I don't know, he didn't look so comfortable, I think.
But I mean, you know, obviously an accomplishment. People clearly like the song or the performance or whatever it is. And you know, definitely not one that I would say is bad. But yeah, again, just a little bit kind of familiar Melfest kind of thing that we're used to. But yeah, what are you guys saying? Michael Forbes, no issues with the dancing if it starts to affect the vocal. Okay, so yeah, I think this is still talking about Eric Saade. Still trying to get that pronunciation down. Charlotte, daughter, and the mamas would work pretty well together. That would be quite a lively collaboration, I would think. You get all kinds of different styles in there, and you know, if Melfest ever wants to do like a "We Are the World" kind of charity benefit song,
that's a good idea then. Absolutely.
And so the other person that we have going directly to, or sorry, not directly to the final, directly to Andra Hansen is Clara Klingenström. Can you help me with the title of her song?
This title, Jag behöver inte dig idag.
What does that mean?
I don't need you today.
Okay. So, tell me, what did you think about her performance?
I liked that one. Maybe it got away a little bit between Sannex and Erik Saade, but I liked it. Yeah, it was kind of a modern Swedish pop song. Reminded me of some other Swedish artists. But yeah, it was good. I like that she got to the Andra chansen, actually. What did you think?
You know, I wanted to like it more than I did, and on the one hand, I'm pleased to see that there are Swedish language songs again that are succeeding in some capacity. Like obviously, it's not going directly to the final, like Arvingarna. But still, you know, it does have that second chance. Excuse me, and you know, certainly not one that I disliked, but maybe a little bit of a surprise that you know, when thinking about a performance like Tess Merkel, which I definitely want to talk about with you as well, because you had mentioned that she was one that you were excited to see. But yeah, you know, in terms of Clara, I'm happy for her. I'd be curious to see who she's going to be going up against in that final round. Raul is saying Clara is so cool. Come on, having delays here. Clara's so cool. I feel she never gets great songs. So she's competed before.
No, I haven't seen her. Or have I missed something?
Perhaps, Raul, are you talking about Clara Hammerström, who we saw last week? Because we did see her.
Yeah.
We saw her in at least 2020. I don't know about any other years.
No, exactly. Clara Klingenström. I think it was her first time in Melodifestivalen tonight. But Clara Hammerström has competed before. Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about somebody who is very widely known, and as we were just saying, Tess Merkel, who is part of the band. Like, does Alcazar still make music together?
No, they split up a couple of years ago.
Okay, but they have made many appearances at Melodifestivalen. And tell me about what you thought about her song for tonight.
I really liked it, actually. I got this 80s disco vibe, and I thought she really deserved to go at least to the Andra chansen. And I liked her much better than the others who got there. So I don't know why didn't people maybe think that think about Alcazar when they see her, and then they compare. But I think she made her own style with this disco and a very good performance. She made her own thing about it.
Yeah, one of my favorites visually, I would say, just because like it had a lot of elements that worked really well together. I loved the lasers with the smoke so that you could see them clearly, and the dancers were really on point. They had really eye-catching outfits, and she performed it excellently. So definitely like the disappointment for me from this round, but I mean, thinking about in the long run, would this have won? I definitely have my doubts. So I guess, there's not as much loss there as if, for example, if the Mamas were not going to the final, then I probably would have been a lot more heartbroken. But definitely a positive surprise on my end.
But did you know that she's 50 years old?
I didn't. Well, I don't know her exact age. I assume because I know that Alcazar has been making music for a few years. I assume that she was definitely, middle-aged. Let's put it that way. She looks great, though. Definitely.
Yeah, such a cool like disco diva. I really admire her.
Yeah. So maybe we can see her again. And like I won't lie. I wouldn't mind if something like this actually won Melfest. It does seem like a long shot, but it would be enough of like a throwback sound, but not one that seems like what everybody else is doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know this person? Is this your aunt?
Yes, that's my aunt. She's a big Melfest fan.
Oh yeah?
No.
How many people in your family would you say are fans of Melfest?
I think they watch it, but I don't know if they are fans. They are maybe those fans that can't admit that they are fans. I think they love Melodifestivalen, but to the people, they say, I hate it. Most of the Swedish people do.
I was talking about this exact thing with some of the people from ESC Norge, which is a Norwegian Eurovision blog, and they very kindly invited me to talk in a live stream with some other people that worked with other blogs to get like an international perspective on their selection. And they kind of said the same thing about MGP, where like people will say that they don't watch it and don't bother, but then all of a sudden like it has amazing viewership. I think the final had like 67% of the viewing audience, which is insane.
Yeah, but it's the same here. It's like what everyone talks about, but people don't watch it, weirdly enough.
So then let's go to one that I was also pretty moved by was Lovad. She had a beautiful ballad with staging that I thought was really elegantly done. How did you feel about her performance?
Yeah, I was actually surprised that Clara Klingenström and Efraim Leo got to the Andra chansen, but not her. I actually thought she was the best of the newcomers tonight. But she had the number 2 entry. That's not good.
And sometimes I wonder about that because like we often talk about that when it comes to Eurovision, having that second spot being like the death spot, and statistically it's shown that tends to not give you a lot of success, and we haven't actually seen a winner perform in the second spot, I believe. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But nonetheless,
right, yeah.
nonetheless, yeah, I mean, it was really beautiful, and one element that I think worked really well was how they integrated the dancer, and he wasn't there on stage, but he had this kind of ghostly presence, and it was, you know, like sometimes I think that having those like pre-recorded elements in, I don't know if it was, they might have been that he was in a different studio and it was happening live, but I imagine that would have been a bit harder to execute.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, it was very tasteful, and it suited the song very, very nicely.
Yeah, really. Very classy, you could say.
And so before I see some questions about some other things here. So before we get to that, let's talk about Sanex, because I think that's the only entry that we haven't talked about.
Yeah, I like them. I like when it's weird and they have very bad rhymes. In Swedish, you get a, maybe it's your personal trainer, PT. You get a PT, I get a GT. I love it.
You'll have to explain that to me, because obviously I missed that.
PT, personal trainer.
Yeah.
GT, gin and tonic.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
they're using, was the song in English? I might have missed it.
No,
Okay. So they're using the acronyms. They're using those acronyms, but like integrating them with Swedish lyrics, and the pun is still in English.
I have no idea what they did. They made so many rhymes that no one else has done in this history. It was amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then also I want to talk about the show, because we were talking a little bit before about how this one seemed to be the best out of the semifinals. I know that you also really enjoyed semifinal 2 for the kind of energy that who was it? It was Enes Demina and that other guy's name.
Oscar Sia.
Yes. Do you think that this one was even better than that one?
Yeah, absolutely. That was really good as well. But this, you know, Pernilla Wahlgren, Per Andersson, they are so, everything they do, it's humor. And if you're Swedish, you know that Pernilla Wahlgren, when she opened her mouth, something fun comes up. The same thing with Per Andersson. You never know what to expect with them. So this was such a good improvement from last week.
It was good to know that I was picking up on the humor without being able to understand the language, because I saw that there was kind of this running gag with not being able to say the names correctly, and what else? There's the sketch with the family where the mom is really obsessed with Melfest, and she's like trying to get the baby to sleep by singing "Dance You Off" and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Let's go to some questions. I don't know how much you'll be able to answer this. So it's Jesus saying, what do you think about Ireland and Slovenia's song? Have you heard either of them?
I've heard Ireland, but not Slovenia. And I thought Ireland was actually better this year than last year. What do you think?
Me too. I agree. I was kind of, on the fence with was a Story of My Life. This year, it's like melodically, I enjoy it a lot more. It kind of, I don't know how you would feel about this, but it kind of feels like something you could see in Melfest.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's something Swedish about her.
I mean that also in the best way, because I know we're also kind of saying like about Ephraim Leo that his was kind of familiar, and I don't mean it in that way. I mean, if it would fit nicely in a selection of Melfest songs. But fortunately, she doesn't have to compete like that, and she just goes right to Rotterdam.
Yeah, exactly.
As for the Slovenian song, I haven't heard that one either, because I was focusing on this, and that was just revealed as Melfest was going on. Michael Forbes is saying ballads seem to struggle in Melfest lately. Why do you think that is?
I think people are bored, actually. They want, especially this year, it's even harder to sing a ballad, and they disappeared because it's like a family show, it's an entertaining show, and then you vote for the things you remember, and that gives you energy on a Saturday night. So there are not so many singers in Sweden that can actually succeed in Melodifestivalen with a ballad.
Mm-hmm. And thinking back, I think the last time that we saw a ballad win was 2014, which, isn't that long ago, but it's obviously been some time since we've seen something at least win the show. Usually we get, I'm trying to think, last year, were there any ballads in the final?
Oh, no, the memory.
It's possible that
I
there
need to
weren't
research.
any.
I don't think so.
Yeah, because thinking it was mostly like there might have been some mid-tempo songs, but I think for the
Yeah.
most part it was kind of the bangers and the more pop songs with energy.
No, not a single one actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. So I don't know. I mean, hopefully, if a good ballad comes about someday, then we'll see it succeed. And it's not that the ballads here aren't good, because we were both fans of Love, but obviously it's hard to, as you said, like on a Saturday night, people are trying to, they're home, they want to have fun. It's hard to really reach out to people in that way.
Yeah.
Zora is asking the $1 million question: who's gonna win?
Tusse.
Tusa? You're calling it
Yeah.
now?
Yeah, I'm sure.
I think he's got a chance for sure. I still I'm keeping my fingers crossed for the Mamas, even though I'm a little bit reluctant. I don't know if I would place my money on it, but I would see them go again. And Vova is asking top 3 in the final. What would that be for you?
We haven't had the total final yet because Andra chansen we're gonna have more.
Right.
But right now, just like spontaneously, I would say number 3. I can't. I need to think about this actually. Arvingarna is a favorite for me, and Tusse and Dotter.
Okay.
Those 3. Yeah. What do you think?
Dotter is definitely in there. Where she would land, I'm not 100% sure. I'm probably going to need to watch all of the performances again and figure that out specifically. I might actually have Eric in there, despite how I feel about the singing. I think that, like, thinking about everything overall, I think that could be a contender. And then the last spot, it would be a toss-up between Tusa and the Mamas for me.
Yeah.
Because I do think that there is something comparable there about the anthemic feel that they're going for. Who knows? Maybe that might end up splitting the votes in that way.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see.
It's Jesus says, to be honest, I prefer Move over in the middle, but I think that the Mamas deserve the most to win since they didn't get the chance to represent Sweden last year. And I mean, that is a lot of how I feel. For you, Emma, I mean, obviously, it's not necessarily fair to let that impact the voting, but at the end of the day, it probably will cause people to think about how they vote, don't you think?
Yeah, but it's also the Mamas. They have like this winning potential. It's like a gold medal raining over them when you see them. But I would then hope that Erik Saade doesn't win just because he has actually gone to Eurovision before. And maybe the same with Charlotte Pirelli, if you're gonna think like that. But may the best song win.
Yeah, I'm always in favor of going for someone new. Michael Forbes is saying my internet's getting bad. I don't know how it is on your end, Emma, but do you think that, actually they counted wrong? I don't think that's the case. But anyway, I think that's probably a good sign to call it there. Festival de Canção is starting, and that's a show that I always really look forward to. I don't know if you've ever seen that one. Have you?
No, but maybe I start now in this pandemic quarantine times, then you can watch all the national selections.
Yeah, this would be the weekend to do it because there's nothing else competing for your attention in terms of Eurovision. So if you get a chance to check it out, I would definitely recommend it. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Next week is going to be very busy, so I don't think we're going to be doing a live video after Melfest, but we will be doing a recap of all the songs in the final once we actually get those results from Andra Hansen. So, please subscribe to Eurovoxx if you haven't done so already. Let us know what some of your favorites were from this show and from Melfest in general. Who do you think is going to win? Don't forget well, I already said subscribe. Don't forget to follow all of our socials, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Our website is eurovoxx.tv, and we will see you guys on the next video. Take care.